Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, no matter where you are. We're happy to have you here at our first 60 days of puppy workshop. If we're live, can you just give me a hand raise, a thumbs up? We see you. Type something in the chat so that we know who's here and that you can see us before we just jump right into all of this awesome information, because we don't want you to miss a single moment of what we're talking about today, right, Yo?
Yeah, I know that LaShawn, Henrik, there's a Stacy. Those are all people that RSVP'd. Let us know that you're here by just writing in the comments wherever you're watching this stream. Now, I know at the very beginning it's kind of hard to find. So, Julie, will you do me a favor and look up on Facebook and make sure you see our faces?
Yeah, I do. We're here.
Okay. I'm a little bit of a mess. As you know, you know when someone goes, "Oh my God, can you do this thing?" And you're like, yeah, I think so. Well, I rescued a dog, and Julie knows me. Like, I never rescue a dog, not like this. I'm very systematic about the way I do things. I'm really organized. But I saw this dog's picture and I was like, oh my God, what I need to do something. I need to help. So Angela, she tagged me. And I know she tagged me because she goes, "This looks like your dog, Bentley." And long story short, they rescued the dog. They got him neutered and they dropped him off at a training session that I was in with Julie yesterday in the middle of the park in Lakewood. And it's been less than 12 hours. So I'm just a little bit distraught. I'm off my game, Julie. Okay. So you're going to have to back me up.
I know I've never seen you just jump so far into your heart out of your head and just go, we have to help this dog. And I love that about you because, as we continue through this process, we've had such heart projects, but I don't know that we've ever just within a couple of hours taken on. Yeah, never. So it's I think you're just in this giving spirit of generosity this year. And I love that.
Well, I'm going to have to definitely bring the reins back in because it does cause me I feel like I'm neglecting other things in my life, and that's for sure. And that's sometimes the downfall thank God for people that rescue. The downfall is your something has got to give, whether it's your relationship, your business. You
gotta put your mask on first, girl. You gotta take care of yourself. And that's the same for all of you puppy parents. Remembering that when you're in the middle of it, you've got a brand new puppy in the house. The most important thing is not that you're designing your entire life around the dog. It's that you're taking care of yourself so that you can take care of your brand new puppy and your family and your schedule and your work. And we totally understand the time commitment that it takes to have a young puppy. So if some of you, like Yo, just jumped in and said, we got to get a puppy this year.
Never do that.
And you were thinking about it for a while, but maybe just you found the right dog, you found the right moment. We're going to help you get through and survive the first 60 days of raising a young puppy, because puppies are a lot of work and they're a big commitment, but it's such a joy where you get to go with them.
I love that you brought that up. Yeah. So guys, drop it in the comments if you can see and hear us. I see Aran is here. Let me tell you guys something. If you see the wording.
From Australia.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about him, Julie. He's been doing some great stuff with all of our website design in the back end. So you guys, that's who's been really helping me behind the scenes. But see how Iran has his name, and I can see his photo. I can tell that he's from Facebook. And then look over here. I'm going to totally butcher your name, but I'm going to attempt it. Vinod. Tell me, Vinod, is it my close? See how he's got a little YouTube. Well, if you click the little button that says, hey, just give us permission, we're able to see your picture. And then I know who this is, but see how it says Facebook user. That means that you haven't clicked that link. So go ahead and click that link so we can see your beautiful little image. I won't be able to see you, but I know this is you, Diane. So click the link. Okay. Love it. So let's dive in deep, guys. Grab a pen and paper because we're going to go real quick. And don't worry if you get lost, you've got something to do, especially if you have your puppy home. We totally get it. Julie and I are experts with puppies. We raise puppies for pet parents all the time. So we constantly got puppies. In fact, we've got 2 boxers being picked up right now, Julie, as we speak. So we've got 2 new puppies that are going to be adding into our training, our in-home board and train in just a second.
And if you guys ever wonder what that looks like, or you want to check us out, we post a lot on Instagram and within this private group to show, what they get to do, where we're going, how we safely socialize them, the kind of training that we do in our home. Like Yo said, we do this 50 to 60 times a year in our personal homes. So we totally understand what it takes and the time commitment to raising the puppy of your dreams.
Yeah. And this topic is about surviving. So we're going to go into what it's like at 8 weeks and then what it's like over, all the way to the 20 to 22 week mark. Now, this is interactive. I can see your questions. I can't see you. So ask away, guys, as we go. Feel free to chime in, ask away. Let us know that you're there so we can feel good about what we're doing. But let's go ahead and get started. So like Julie mentioned earlier, a lot of times you get a puppy and then you go, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? We're going to talk to you a little bit about how to survive and how to plan and get the whole details of what you would need to implement a really good plan. But before we do that, just so you know a little bit more about us, my name is Yo, short for Yoanka, and I am streaming live from Sunset Beach, California. Now, why do I mention where I live? It's because it is a very busy community. So when you talk about raising a puppy in my neighborhood, you're talking about PCH with lots of traffic, police cars, fire sirens going on, skateboarders, bicyclists, everything that you can imagine in a beach community. That's where I live. Now, it's really important to understand that where you're coming from when you have a puppy, because that'll determine what kind of training you're going to want to implement. And Julie.
Hi, I am Julie Fryman. Below, you can see my 2 foster fails, Opal Blossom and Cooper Jedi. And just to give you kind of the personality opposites that Yo and I are, her 2 dogs were so planned, were years of work, were, picking the perfect dog, the perfect personality. And mine were both absolute accidents. They were foster fails. They were these beautiful dogs that came into my home for 2 weeks, and I'm a sucker and they never left. So we both understand what it takes to design that program, whether you've been planning this for years or couple of minutes. There is help, there is support, and we love creating that community of puppy owners to give tips and tricks. And you're gonna never feel silly about asking a question, because I swear if you have that question, hundreds of other puppy parents around the world have it as well. So we are both very excited to be here and to showcase our puppy expertise.
And you can see here that we really believe in education. Now, if you're wanting to learn more about working with puppies, or you haven't gotten your puppy yet, LaShawn, if you're listening, there's a program like ours. Ours is all about raising a puppy, and it's all about the training. But if you're a dog trainer and you want to learn a little bit more, there's a class from Canine Learning Academy called Puppies Start Right. Both of us have taken it. In fact, I think Curtis has also taken it. It helps you understand the socialization stages and really understanding what it is and how to go about making sure that you kind of build or create a bomb-proof dog, so to say. So it's a very inexpensive. It's not a certification, but there's a course out there. It's from Canine Learning Academy, and it's called Puppy Start Right. So I'm just going to mention that right now. All right, so let's move on. So what do you hear? What do you think about when someone says surviving? So I've got this photo of a guy that, survived a boat accident. He swam over 40 miles to shore. And this is a picture taken. I'm totally lying. This is a picture taken the moment he hit land. He survived a boat accident. He survived the swim. He survived not being eaten by sharks. So what does surviving puppyhood mean to you Drop it in the chat. Was that pretty convincing?
Yeah, until you totally blew it. I'll tell you what surviving means to me, and we really want to see, your comments and what you guys are feeling right now. And just from this story, that is a real story. This may not be a real picture, but that is a real story that a guy swam 40 miles all the way back into the shore, knowing and struggling and keeping in mind, the end, right?
Yeah.
All he's thinking about, having this perfect image in your head of, what's the end goal? How am I going to get, what are you swimming for? Are you swimming for your family? Are you swimming for your friends? Are you swimming for that beautiful house and the warm sand? What is at the end of your journey that you are so passionate about that you get to hold on during those hard times when the waves are dragging you under, or you just feel so fatigued that you can't go anymore? And there will be points in your dog's life that are very difficult. That is not negotiable. That is part of having a dog. There will be days or weeks that you feel you're not doing it right. You feel disappointed that your dog isn't everything you thought they were going to be. I hear a lot that people are upset their young puppy doesn't want to snuggle too much. And I think a lot of those expectations come from movies and TV, where we see these puppies that are just upside down and holding on. That's the exception, not the rule. So just know that if you're in the middle, you're frustrated, you're feeling like this puppy doesn't like me, or they're biting me or scratching me, just know that we're here to help. We're going to give you those survival tips, but always hold on to that vision and the end, getting to shore, because a puppy is going to be your best friend for the rest of your life, or for the rest of their life, unfortunately. So keep in mind that perfect 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old dog that you dream of, because it is possible to get there, but sometimes you have to swim pretty far.
And the first 60 days, these are some of the topics that we hear a lot from pet parents. Chewing, nipping, oh my gosh, the accidents, the barking, the jumping, disappointment. So that's kind of what Julie just said. I had this idea of I was going to be able to do all these things. So disappointment, lack of sleep, quarantine because your dog's not vaccinated. You're going to feel like you're trapped a little bit. You can't go out when you wanted to go out, or those date nights become, take homes. And then training and teaching, having to do something with your dog for the first 60 days because it's important. Someone told you had to, right? So Diane wrote, surviving puppyhood is like surviving kids, only much faster. And that's right. Yeah. So we're going to talk to you about the first 60 days, because honestly, if you've ever trained for a race of some kind, I used to do the Ironmans, but let's just talk about the marathon. It's 26.2 miles. And you start off going, okay, I'm going to just do 1 mile week 1. And then week 2, you're going to add a mile. You're going to go 2 miles. Well, next thing you know, you're running 12 miles. And when you look back at your notes, you go, wow, I feel the same. Like the comments that I made after mile 1 and the comments I made after mile 12 are pretty much the same. I feel fatigued. I'm excited that I finished. I feel like I'm closer to my goals, right? That's what puppyhood is like too. When you survive the first 60 days, you're not done. You're going to go into the next stage of the dog's life. And we're going to talk about those developmental stages in just a second. But you're going to have to survive that too. And that's why we're going to go over the entire plan. But just like Diane said, it's much faster than raising a child. Much, much faster. And why it's hard for some people is because they don't know what to expect. That's the real reason why it's hard. When you have kids, you know it's going to be hard. You know it's going to be hard, but you're committed. There's nothing, yep, it's my child. Well, if you knew the plan, if you knew what to expect, you're going to understand and you're going to be able to survive it with no problem. So today we're going to talk about puppy essentials, setting realistic goals. Thanks for that spell check, Julie. Creating a plan, developmental stages, what shapes behavior. How do you know if you're doing it right? We're going to talk a little bit about that. Creating a safe space and what it evolves to. And then management. You're going to always hear a dog trainer talk about management, but we're going to talk to you a little bit about management and how to fade out management, what it looks like over from 8 weeks to 20 weeks. And then some essential skills. What are the first things that you want to teach? All right. So first off, you haven't brought your puppy home yet. LaShawn, I know you're here. I know you're going to be here. If you're not here right now, here are some of the things that we usually send over to a new pet parent. Something that creates a safe space. So you're looking at a crate. Go ahead and go through those real quick, Julie.
I am. Okay. Yeah, management tools with the exercise. When we say X pen, you're going to hear us refer to that a lot. The exercise pen is a lot of times what, when you go to a breeder or you see a lot of puppies in that little gate area, that's what an exercise pen is. So we call it an X pen. Puppy gates, so important. I can't tell you how many gates I have up in my house because I like my stuff and I want to keep all the dogs safe. Potty station. So really having an idea in your mind where you want your dog to go to the potty and what kind of surfaces that's going to be, and setting that up before your dog comes home, or doing it right away after you watch this workshop. You're going to go and you're going to set up one area for your dog to be in. Enzyme cleaner. So dogs, when they pee or they poop, they actually leave behind protein in their waste. So regular bleach, Lysol, ammonia, it doesn't clean up that protein. It just gets away the surface smell. But our dogs have much better noses than us. So when we use an enzyme cleaner like Nature's Miracle, Scout's Honor, there's a lot of different kinds. It dissolves that protein so that they can't go back and find that mark that they've made. Vet checks right away. If you're getting your dog from a groomer, a rescue, no matter what, within the first couple of days, they need to visit the vet to have a baseline. Grooming supplies, toys and chews, harness, collar, leash. I know we're going to go into all of these in depth.
Yep.
And so I just wanted to kind of touch on those, but this is the first step. And having it's like going to school, right? You get this big long list of materials and it seems very overwhelming, but if you're going in prepared, you have your backpack. I always love shopping for school supplies. I don't know about anyone else, but having that list is very, very helpful in getting all of the supplies you need so you feel prepared and ready and confident when you step in, and you're going to be the puppy expert as well.
All right. Anybody want to add anything to that that's not on here or might be different in your country? Go ahead and just add it so that anyone that's listening, watching this, or coming back for the replay can see those things in the comments. So let's move on to what are your puppy's needs. So when we're preparing in advance, if you know how it all works, I'm going to give you the overall big picture. Number one, a puppy really needs to make sure that they feel safe. Before you do anything else, this is typically the order that we work with when we have a brand new puppy. Safety. What that looks like, I'm going to go over in just a second. Next is building trust, that connection with the puppy, so that when you ask them, not tell them, if you ask them for something, they're more likely to do it because they trust you. If you hand them something, they don't run away. They come towards you because they trust the hand. So after the dog feels safe, trust. And then the third, and this is in our consecutive order. Those of you that are trainers might do it totally a little differently, and you're welcome to comment. But this is what works for us in our experience. Confidence is next. Building confidence between the puppy and us, between the puppy and other things, the puppy and the environment, and the puppy alone. A confident puppy is in a place where they can learn. So let me say that again. A confident puppy is in a place where they can actually learn. So let's go over what that means. Safety, in order for a puppy to become or feel more safe, you want to let them make the choice. Let them explore at their own pace. And we're going to have some videos that are going to demonstrate what that looks like. But big picture is when you bring a puppy into an area, letting them explore and taking in that smell, taking in that touch, and then going, oh, look at that. All right, cool. Versus putting them there and expecting them to, automatically be okay with it. We see this a lot when puppies will go from walking on a carpet to walking on a tile floor. You'll see them stop and freeze like, oh, wait, what changed? So going back a little bit slower. You want to prevent overwhelm. Sometimes you might want to use what we call motivators, whatever the dog thinks is motivating, whatever is going to encourage them to learn. Now, we don't start off giving a dog food when we're trying to create a safe space, right, Julie? We let them explore at their own pace. And then if we're watching the body language and noticing that they're really struggling, we might, put some food in I gave this dog this morning a bath. I didn't know what it was going to look like, but I brought him into the bathroom and I fed him. And then I threw some food into the shower. He went right in. I was like, okay, cool.
And just a quick note, why we don't add in food first is because we don't want to spoil that motivator, right? If your puppy is already scared or nervous, some of you may have experienced this with the bath. If you grab peanut butter and then take your dog right into a bath and they're already scared, we may actually spoil the association with that high value motivator. And now every time you touch the peanut butter, even if it's for something different, they're going to automatically be very scared and nervous because they think it's, oh my God, now it's bath time and I need to be worried. So having them take the time to expose and then process and then make it enjoyable, right? That's the steps: safety, trust, and then confidence. These are what we want to work on. And I find that a lot of puppy parents skip over that safety and trust because we're so ready to just get it done. And so, adding in some extra time in your schedule, you never know how long it's going to be. So give yourself at least, some buffer time so that you're not rushing and we don't create a really deep rooted fear that may last the rest of your puppy's life.
Beautiful. So just if you have any questions about this, go ahead and chime in. I'm going to go real quick on trust. Trust is about being very consistent. Let me go one more thing about safety is that when a dog feels safe, there's somewhat of a routine. They're not worried that they're not going to get food. They're not worried that there's no water. They're not worried that they're not going to, that they're going to freeze or something, that they're going to be able to stay in a warm place. So those are parts of being safe. That's why the routine is always usually at the very, very beginning, being safe and then creating a really comfortable routine that the dog's like, okay, I know it comes next. Trust, limiting the space where you bring your puppy in helps to build trust, not just with you, but in that area, right? It's scary when you take a puppy that's coming from a shelter or a breeder and they've been in confined space and all of a sudden putting them into some of these houses that we have here, these massive houses. In trust, you want to reward everything that you want your puppy to learn. That's positive. That if you want them to sit, if you want them to keep 4 paws down, you're going to reward that to help build that trust. Hand feed, right? Learn to understand their body language. That's trust. So that you can, I got it. Okay, you're feeling a little bit fearful. All right, I'll take some steps back. Building a connection and bond. And then confidence sometimes is about the puppy going away and feeling confident. So that's why we'll do like enrichment feeders and things like that. They're becoming more confident in their area with a surface. That's all about confidence. But we don't like to tell pet parents to just work on building confidence without building a relationship too. That's why that training is really important so that you can get those repetitions in. All right. Any other thing on that, Julie, before we move on? We're going to go pretty quick.
Yeah,
okay.
That's perfect.
All right. So let's set some realistic goals. Now, why do we add the word realistic is because when you first think about bringing your puppy home, like you're thinking about it. These are all this, 2 more months. This is what I'm going to do. You have a dream in mind. So I'm going to ask you guys that have gotten dogs, when you first thought about getting a dog, what was the dream? What was the dream? And if you guys are, some of you that are dog trainers, if you dissect what the dream actually is, because they might say, oh, I want a dog that'll help me exercise. I want a dog who's heard this. I want a family dog because my kids are really, I want them to be around a dog, right? Some of the things that we hear is family dog, service dog. I want a dog that can walk. I want a dog that I can take into therapy. Anything else, Julie, that we hear quite a bit?
Yeah, comfort, a dog that's going to be supportive to my kids. A lot of people get dogs for their other dogs, and that, we can talk about how problematic that can be, but just knowing what that goal is, instead of seeing it short term, we have to get this done in the next couple of months. Really think about, who do you want your dog to be in 10 years? And that really helps with that light at the end of the tunnel, and just keep swimming, so that you know what you're working for and why it's so important to you, because it can feel really hard if you don't have that goal or that vision in mind.
But let's go back even deeper. So when someone says, I want a companion dog, you'll have to decide, what does that actually mean? So those of you that have not gotten your puppy, or if you've just recently got a puppy, what are you saying? Because a companion dog for Julie might be something completely different for me. When I got my puppy, Bentley, not Bandit, but when I got Bentley, it was because the kids had left the house and I felt unneeded. Felt like I didn't have a job anymore. I didn't feel important anymore. So when I really, no matter what I said at the time, oh, I want a dog because I want to be able to, do this and this. I want to take them to the office. Deep down inside, I wanted to feel worthy. I wanted to feel respected. I wanted people to go, oh, really? I wanted that feeling you get when you have a small child and they look up at you and you feel like, I'm going to just say God for a second, but not necessarily God, but you feel really, really good. And I missed that. So that was the reason why I really got my dog, when I really thought about it. And Julie, you got Opal in a time where you were transitioning from being a, stay-at-home child, but you were grown up and then going on your own. It was a transitional dog for you. So if you really thought about the deep down inside why you got Opal, what would you say now? Not what you probably said, years ago.
She's my emotional support. Yeah. I had just gotten back from working overseas in the Peace Corps. I had moved back in with my parents. I'm looking how to grow up and how to, really become an adult. And now I see how much she really does support me and how much she checks on me. And I know that was because during that time, the early stage, I did rely on her and she relied on me so much for that emotional support. And so that's what we got to be together.
Beautiful.
I do want to highlight, can you highlight Deb Plowman's? Yeah. So the 3-3-3 rule, if you're not familiar with this, especially if you're getting a new dog from a shelter or a rescue, even when they're 8 weeks old, we do follow a 3-3-3 rule, which is 3 days are close to home, schedule, and routine. You can potty train your dog in 3 days, but you have to focus. Keep it close to home, keep the family involved. That's about it. 3 weeks, we can start to expect a little more. We can start venturing out and making sure that our dog is socialized out in the real world. And then 3 months, that's when our dog really feels like, I'm home, these are my people, and now I know what to expect. So it takes about 3 months, 90 days to change a behavior from your old ways to your new ways. So just keeping in mind that 3-3-3 rule. Yes, it is important. It's a little bit different when you have a brand new 8-week-old puppy, because their brains don't really click all the way on until about 3 or 4 months. But you still have that opportunity to create safety and confidence if you're taking it within that pattern.
Love it. Anyone want to add to that? Let's So once you have the idea of what the goal is, then you start implementing a plan. And this is something you really should be writing down. So whatever your goal is, you'll write it on one side and then you'll go through and put, what does it actually mean? So let's pull one of these out. I want to, let's see. Pick one, Julie.
Well, I want to set up a service dog just so people understand. We have a lot of calls like, I want my dog to be a service dog, and the level of commitment that actually takes. And so I think if we go through the level of training that we do with service dogs, it might give people a little better idea.
Well, we'll go quick because that one is the longest one. But a service dog, if we describe the goal is, it's a dog that's a working dog that when asked to work, the dog goes into work mode. What does work mode look like? It all depends. But the reality is they are glued to the person that the handler, and they're going to be providing that service when they're on. And during that time, everything else in the world needs to be very neutral. When another dog barks at them, when a shopping cart goes across the parking lot, when anything that's happening in the outside environment, that dog still needs to be in work mode. Kind of like how we are when we're at work. No matter what's going on, we still have to work, right? So that level of being able to be that acclimated takes typically almost 2 years to get through all the different layers of levels of training, because your sound, sight, and all the different locations, depending on what that handler's life looks like. If they travel a lot, so there's a whole training on that. Let me just read one of these comments. Okay, we're okay. So, and then the behavior. So the level of training of being able to do, whether it's a diabetic alert or a hearing impaired, they have to be able to do that, not just in the home, but everywhere. The other thing about a service dog is that when we're training a service dog, we'll train them to do their task no matter what. They have to be a problem solver. So they don't just get a cardboard box, you put some food in it, and you close it up, and the dog looks at you and starts barking, asking you to open it. A service dog will figure out, even if that box is in another room, how to open the door and get that box. Because the level of training for a service dog is they're going to need to do their job even when they're stuck in a closed room. They need to go find their handler, going through a door, figuring it out. They're constant. And that sometimes means not listening to what whomever is trying to tell them otherwise. Sometimes they will ignore a cue if it means they're going to create the safety that they needed for their handler. And so there's lots of layers of training for a service dog. And the reality is it's not fun for the dog. For some dogs, there's very, very few that we've ever said completely 100%. Oh my gosh, all the way through. When we work with, go ahead.
Yeah, it also involves that really one-to-one connection, meaning no other people get to train, your dog in the house. No one else is, snuggling or kissing on them, or you're not going out and meeting a million people, because they need to be focused on that handler, and they really need to have that one-to-one connection with them. It's important to take them out and see those things, but we're not going to ask them to take food from other people or create, we're not going to go and run around and be silly in the middle of the mall like we might do with a companion dog.
Yeah. All right. It's important to know what the goal is, and then creating a plan. Really be as detailed as possible. If you are putting that plan together, don't skip anything. Put it all down on a paper, on the computer, on notes, a list, or whatever, and then implement that training in a lot of different ways. So we go into the developmental stages really quickly, because I want you to really understand, what does your dog actually go through? What's it like? So Julie, I'm going to mute myself and let you go through the developmental stages briefly, and it's sticking mostly with the age bracket that we're working with, which is the 8 to 20 weeks.
Yeah. So, Neonatal, that's where the breeders are working the transitional 12 days to 3 weeks. This is when they should be exposed to more sounds and sights. If you have a breeder that you're getting from, or even I know rescues that will do this, creating different surface sounds, exposures at this age makes a really big difference in how they're able to handle stress later in life. Socialization. Now, socialization does not just mean people. It doesn't just mean handing your dog off to everyone so that they get used to being handed off to everyone. Socialization involves all 5 senses, right? Sights, sounds, textures, tastes, temperatures, all sorts of environments, all of those things. It's really, really important because between this 3 to 12, if you have a large dog, you can kind of push it to 16 weeks because they grow a little bit slower. This is the most crucial time to influence the personality of your dog. So a lot of people, when we first talk to them, they're like, my puppy won't stay. My puppy doesn't listen. They're not doing a sit or a down or a come. And I remind them that you have, a few weeks to influence your dog's personality, behavior, who they are going to adjust to becoming. So the moment that your dog gets home, yes, it's great that they can sit and down and come, but we really, really need to focus on how they handle the environment, building that confidence and using exposure during this time because they are sponges. During that socialization period, they're just like pre-kindergartners. We need a lot of creativity. We need a lot of exploration. We're not asking them to do, long division at 8 weeks old. We're asking them to come with us in a bag and look at sounds and sights and, wow, look at that over there, because their baby brains are soaking in all of that and they're building associations that are going to last them a lifetime. So if you have a puppy that's maybe past this point, what we're getting into in the juvenile stage is being much more careful and slowing things down. When you're in the socialization period, your puppy can handle quite a lot of exposure, but we want to be careful not to overwhelm them or make sure that they feel safe and confident. That's when they're really absorbing everything. And then during the juvenile period is where we start to notice that your dog may be developing more fear. They may be hesitant towards new things or new people or new situations. So we need to take things quite a bit slower. If you didn't get out and see 100 people in 100 places and 100 sounds in 100 days, we want to go much, much, much more slowly. And it's not that you can't still expose them. It just may take you a bit longer. And we need to make sure that they feel confident in those situations, because the fears that happen in that 12 to 14 weeks until they're 6 months old really do get blown up in their brain. They get dramatized into these huge instances. So if a husky barked in their face really loud when they were 4 months old, they may now, have exaggerated that into all huskies want to attack me for the rest of my life. And that may not be true, but in their baby brains, that's what that trauma has exploded into, is this huge story where they're very, very scared. Yeah. So, and that's to keep them alive, right? If they were living out in the wild, we want to learn lessons quickly and we want to keep them hardwired into us. And so dogs do that pretty quickly when they're younger. So just being careful how you're exposing and what you're working on during that juvenile period is very, very important as well.
So are you done? You gone through?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just make sure that we got the audience that is here understands what that means. What is the most important stage for socialization? What's the weeks? It's on there, but go ahead and just type it in the chat under comments. When we say most important time for puppy, I'm talking about puppy development, where they're more likely to try it, smell it, walk towards it. Let's see what we've got here. So I'll let you guys go ahead and respond to that. Yep. So anywhere between 3 to 12 to 16 weeks, which is why when someone gets a puppy at 8 weeks, There's not that many weeks left. You've got 8 weeks. And what does your vet say? Right? Most vets, well, at least
Take the
some
puppy.
vets.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not.
Most vets really give that big, scary speech. Don't take your puppy outside. Don't let them touch anything. Don't let other people handle them because they're afraid of what might happen. And that's for all doctors. Even human doctors are going to give you the most dangerous situations to keep you as safe as possible. But there are a lot of really easy and healthy ways to socialize your dog that have nothing to do with being near other dogs, being on the grass, being exposed to those dangerous things. No walking outside, not necessarily. So that is a common misconception. We don't want to walk them in high traffic areas or areas where other dogs have defecated. So that may not be in your neighborhood, but it could be in a parking lot. Oh yeah, you mean vets say that. Yeah. Definitely. So that's the kind of warnings that we get pretty immediately.
What I would say if you're a new puppy parent and a vet does say that, say, well, why? Why are you saying no walking outside? And if they say, oh, because there's diseases that's on the ground, they go, would my backyard and my front driveway be okay? And if they say, oh, outside in period, and they don't talk about on the ground, so I can't carry my puppy? Or are you saying I can't carry him? Because we use strollers and wagons, all those ways to can start that socialization stage as early as possible. And now there's even a lot of breeders that are using wagons and taking them through Home Depot in a crate. I mean, it's amazing. So,
or in your shopping cart, right?
Yeah.
They're not on the ground. Bring a towel with you. I even have a puppy papoose, like a carrier where you can just put them on the front.
I've got a picture of it next.
Yeah, perfect. So, there we go. It's right there in the middle. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, and this is the way that when we first get those puppies and they're, 8 weeks old, we just pop them in a bag, put them in a stroller, carry them, and get them exposed that way. So let's go into what shapes behavior. So this is more of some of the things as a pet parent really should understand. So when you're going to have a child, you're going to have a baby book that tells you what to expect. Well, with a new puppy, you're going to want to learn a few things. So how does behavior actually shape in a puppy? Here, it's really simple. They learn in 2 different ways. Number 1, am I safe? Is everything good? Is everything cool? Or holy crap, everything's really scary and it's dangerous. That's how.
And again,
that's it.
That's just how they feel. It doesn't necessarily have to actually be dangerous. It's just how they feel in that moment. I don't feel safe around cockroaches. There's nothing that's necessarily going to happen to me. I've never been attacked by cockroaches or bitten or tried to be killed by them. It's not like they're invading my home, but still there's a feeling deep down inside of me when I see one that I don't feel safe. So real or not doesn't matter. It's all about how they're actually feeling in that moment or that environment.
And if anyone's been afraid of heights or going over a bridge, a suspended bridge,
are you just like naming things that I'm scared of now?
Now that I think about it, you are. But like those are the things that you can't control, even if they tell you like why, it's got all this suspension and nothing's ever happened. You're still going to feel that way. Yeah. Christine put spiders, right? Spiders. So when you understand that, that's where your dog is. There's no reason to be upset about it. Instead, go from a place of understanding. Oh, okay. So how do we shift that? I went through on a suspended bridge. Was it not suspended? We went on a bridge and Julie started feeling weird. I'm like, well, I'll drive. I'll make sure I'll drive so we don't have you. I think you were driving at the time, but I was just like, you're good. You're okay.
And so, she's calming me. She let me focus. We stopped talking to each other. I've got both hands on the wheel, creating that condition under which I'm going to be safe versus just being like, Julie, you're okay. It's okay. Just keep going straight. Like that's not helpful when I don't feel safe. So giving the conditions, right? If it's quiet, I can focus, I feel supported, I know nothing is going to happen, and I'm in control. Those are the things that typically help us get through those fears.
Second thing that shapes behavior is when a puppy tries something and it works, or if they try something and it doesn't work. So, for example, if a puppy barks at you to get attention and you look over at them, even if you yell, "Shut up," if you look over at the puppy, that worked.
Yeah.
And when something works, I'm going to tell you this because it's in the next slide, they try it again. When it doesn't work, they stop trying.
Mm-hmm.
So when a puppy figures out, you're going to see in a couple slides later, this puppy figured out how to get out of the X pen. She's like, I'm going to try. She was 8 weeks at the time, was Kogo. I've got a picture of her sitting on the top of the X pen. She figured out how to climb at 8 weeks. And even when I put up a higher X pen, she just like climbed even more. So it worked. So she keeps trying it, right? So it's important to understand that is how it's either how they associate things with whatever you're trying to give them that experience, or if they decide to try it again. So let's go into, how do you know if they feel safe? How do you know? How do you know if a puppy feels safe? Well, here's some examples. They begin to take food. They fall asleep. They drink water. They'll go potty. They'll learn. And they'll listen. So if they feel safe and you say, "Charlie, come here," and Charlie looks over and walks over towards you, they feel safe. So when they don't feel safe, you'll typically see a puppy not take any food, not able to really go into a deep sleep. They're restless. Some of them won't drink water. This is not always, guys. This is just examples.
I do see that a lot, especially with potty, right?
Yeah.
People want to take their puppy potty at other people's houses or in different environments, but your puppy doesn't feel safe. So they may hold it until they get back in the car, or they may hold it until the moment they get back inside. And then we're going to probably get upset because we just had you outside for an hour, right? It's not necessarily their fault. If they don't feel safe, they're not just going to drop down and relax enough to get that stuff out of them. So just remembering that when we're pushing our dogs to go to the bathroom in the front yard or at someone else's house, making sure they feel safe and confident in those environments is the first step to success in potty training.
Even going potty outdoors, you'll hear this all the time. Well, I gave him 10 minutes to go out. He didn't go. He came inside and went potty. That doesn't mean he doesn't know where his potty station is. It means that when he was out there, most likely he wasn't comfortable enough to go. He heard something, an airplane went by, there was a certain smell. There might be a reason why your dog's not going potty in the area that you're asking to. Usually it has to do with not feeling safe. And then can't learn, right? They're not in a state of mind like Julie going over a bridge. I'm not going to start asking her to figure something out. She's not going to even hear me, right? Hopefully she's going to be focused on just not taking the car over the bridge. So they can't listen. They can't learn. It's not that they don't want to. They're not being stubborn. They're not being jerks. They don't know better. They can't do it. No different, Christine, than being afraid of spiders and being in a state where you've got a bathroom full of spiders and you have nowhere to go. You're going to freeze and you're going to probably choke up for a second. And then as soon as you start to feel a little more comfortable, your brain starts to turn on and you'll start to figure out, how do I get out of here? What do I need to do? Right? That state of like, okay, what are we going to do? But initially, no. Not able to do anything. And then when we talk about what works and what doesn't work, well, when it works, they're going to keep doing it. They're going to try it again. When it doesn't work, they try something and it doesn't work. If a puppy tries to climb out of an X pen and they can't figure it out, they stop trying. they stop doing that. If a puppy keeps jumping on you because they want you to pick them up and you never pick them up when they're jumping on you, they're going to stop jumping on you.
Oh, that's a big rule in my house that even my boyfriend knows. We have a motto, 4 on the floor, 4 paws on the floor. And when he learned that and he came into the house, all of a sudden, all of the dogs started sitting for him. They all kept their paws on the floor because they know once he made that rule in his head, all of the dogs realized, okay, the only way we get attention, the only way we get pets or interaction is if all 4 paws are on the floor. So that's like our house motto. When there's a bunch of dogs in the house, he'll go 4 on the floor, 4 on the floor. And I like, yes, absolutely. I want that tattooed on the wall.
Nice. All right. I'll remove that banner. Let's see. Here we go.
Can you highlight Henrik's question for us? A lot of what you say works for adult shelter dogs too. Yes. And I'll just quickly preface it. When you don't feel safe, your development pauses. That's what we call arrested development. So we also see this in children who are in juvenile detention or are in foster homes. A lot of times they end up skipping over that creative, explore, learning period because they don't feel safe. And so we'll start to notice some of these things later in life. I've had dogs 2, 3, 4 years old that were adopted. They finally feel safe. Now they're learning how to play. Yeah. So keeping that in mind is that your dog's development does pause, and it really takes a big toll on their psyche when they don't feel safe. They don't get that proper play, development, creativity because they're focused on survival. So I love that question, Henrik, because that's so important for dogs that are getting adopted from new homes, switching homes, coming out of not the best situations.
So let's go over what creating a safe space. We're going to do this really quickly because it's not about how to do it and all that. I really just want to take you guys through the journey of the first 60 days and how it evolves. That is what a lot of new pet parents just don't really understand. And by understanding it, then you're willing to go the extra mile. All right. There's a whole bunch of dogs barking outside.
That's okay. So I'll take over from here. Safe space, meaning that your dog has a bedroom, just like when you have a child. And it's really important that they grow in independence and they know how to be by themselves. If you're constantly telling your dog what to do, where to do it, how to do it, they're never going to learn how to do things on their own. They're going to rely on you to tell them everything. And that is a very needy dog. So creating the expectation from day one, this is your bedroom. This is where you get to hang out, right? If I go into your house and your puppy meets me at the front door, I'm going to go, nope, we're setting up a safe space today. Because the chance that that dog is so confident that they run out of the door because now they have all of this space. We want to make sure that they have a singular space where they eat, where they rest, where they learn to chill. And then we can expand that as we go, as we succeed. Start off in a safe space. A smaller area is better for puppies because we don't want them to be overwhelmed or overstimulated. And it's never used for punishment. This is their puppy Disneyland. This is where all good things happen. It's where they choose to be because we've reinforced it so heavily. And it's super important for surgeries and injuries. There will be a day where your dog, whether they're going to be altered, whether they, break a leg, they need to understand how to be in a confined space for their safety as well. We can't have a dog that has a broken leg jumping on the couch. So if you set that expectation when they're a puppy, they're going to be really peeved at you when you finally take away all that space. So setting it up, getting them used to that, and then as you succeed, you can expand it. But independence training is so important so that your dog doesn't develop separation anxiety, so that they understand that it's okay to be alone and rest and recover. And you can take them to other places like your parents' house, like your friend's house. If they already know how to be in one space, We don't have potty accidents all over the house. We don't have stealing and chasing and running away. So that's where the safe space is so, so important from day one, whether you're just using that crate, the crate and the X pen, and you see as it goes on, you're expanding just a little, adding in one more thing, one more thing, one more thing.
Yeah. And I just showed the kind of how we take our journeys through our puppies. So in the very first 24 hours, usually it's getting them okay with the crate, all about the crate. We do have an X pen around the crate, and that's just so we have the space to also stay in there. And just in case the puppy can get out, they go back in. And then a couple weeks later, you're adding an X pen and a crate, and you're keeping the crate door open, giving them that space. Now, the crate for us, a smaller space allows them to build the bladder strength that allows them to feel like they're in a den and everything that Julie just said. Then we place a dog bed in there. Now, we typically don't start off with a dog bed because some puppies will destroy the dog bed. But if we think
potty on it right away, and that's a bummer. So
now some puppies go much faster, but I just want to show you guys this little thing so you can kind of get an idea. So then when there's a dog bed in there, and then at 14 weeks, same thing, but maybe the X pen is opened up a little bit. If you ever seen the videos in my house, you'll see a smaller X pen and you'll see it gradually open, and then it starts to open up where they have an entire half of a room. And then eventually some pet parents they do away with the crate that's inside their confined area, the area that they hang out all day. And in the very, very long run, once your dog is no longer chewing, pottying in the house, running out the door, all of those things, your dog is house trained, then all you've got is a dog bed. And your house becomes that safe space. All right. Any questions on that?
Henrik, do you even feed them in the crate then? At first, we use hand feeding. We use their food, for training and enrichment. Sometimes I'll toss them in there and let them come out, and toss them in there and let them come out, so that they understand that it's not a trap. I'm not tricking them. You can feed them in the crate. Sometimes that'll kind of jumpstart the process, but it's totally up to you how you choose to interact with their food and how they get to, how they're rewarded with that as well.
All right, guys, we are at the hour mark, and we're going to go a little faster going forward because we're going to be talking about puppy schedule and routine. Now, if you feel lost or you feel like, okay, this is going way too fast, or I want more information, just book a free call with us and we'll be able to kind of go over and customize something for you. But here we go. So puppy schedule and routine, everyone knows they've got to put some kind of schedule together. Now, we typically divide the schedule and routine up for our families into these 5 sections. There's the potty training routine. There's developmental and learning. That's like the field trips. That's the play. That's going around the neighborhood, building trust. And then you've got mealtime. When it comes to mealtime, some puppies are eating 3 times a day. Some are eating 2. Some of the adult dogs are going to 1. That's the time to use food. If the food is the motivation, we're going to use food in some way or another to help build trust, bonding, build vocabulary, build confidence, or just give the dog a mental stimulation, mental outlet. Then we have sleep time and we have alone time. So sometimes the dog is left alone to chew on something, but they don't necessarily have to go to sleep or fall asleep. You're not creating that sleep environment. Sometimes in the afternoon, we want the puppy to be alone, but we don't necessarily want them to fall asleep because then they end up, going to bed a little bit too early. So if we evolve that, the first time you get your puppy home at 8 weeks, alone time might be 2 hours, or sleeping in the crate might be 2 hours, or sleeping in their pen might be 2 hours. Each week, we typically add 15 minutes. So by week 10, now this is just an outline, guys. Some puppies are more, depending on the size of their bladder. If any of the puppies have any kind of illness, it's going to, be less time alone, and we're taking them out more frequently. But we talk about to our pet parents, what can you expect at 10 weeks, 2.5 hours? Now we start off lower than what's typical because we want to make sure they're successful. And we're talking about 2.5 hours alone feeling comfortable. We're not talking about a barking, totally scared puppy. They are comfortable being alone for 2.5 hours at 10 weeks. At 12 weeks, if you're adding that 15 minutes each week, you're at 3 hours. And by the time you get to 20-week-old puppy, you're up to 4.5 hours of leaving that puppy alone and they feel comfortable. So that is the stages that we go through. 15 minutes every week. And sometimes it's 15 minutes for 3 days and then we up it from there. Every single dog is going to be different. How do we know when to go up? Because they feel safe. They communicate that with us, right? They're going potty exactly where we've asked them to go. So when you're developing a puppy schedule, it's all based on, like Julie said, what is your life like? You can't turn around and say, sorry, work, I got to take everything off for the next 5 months because I've got a puppy to train. You can't do that. At least some of you can't. Some of you will. I know it did. So what you do is you take your schedule, you take your puppy's needs, and you put together a formula that works. So if you work an 8-hour shift and you're just going to schedule your breaks and you're going to put that all into a little system that works for you guys. Be organized. This is where you get to be organized and detailed. Use a dry erase board. This is a picture of my dry erase board for my puppy.
It's organized. And it is so, so helpful when you have a puppy to have that routine already in place, knowing what you want, when you want it, and especially if there's multiple people in your house. Yeah. So if someone else is in charge for that day, you have the list written out. You go, what time is it? What's the puppy supposed to be doing? Right? So there's no argument. There's no, well, I want to play with the puppy and I want to, nope. What time is it? It's sleep time. That's where the puppy is. You don't have to be the bad guy. The schedule is there for a reason. And that really helps out with kids too. And setting your alarm like Yo is showing. Yes.
Setting your timer so that you don't get distracted and that your puppy is successful, right? You're planning ahead of time, not after the fact. And if they do have an accident, it's always our fault. We didn't pay attention to the time. We didn't pay attention to the signs. So I'm a big fan of dry erase boards. They're super cheap. You can attach them to X pens. You can place them on tables. I'll have one that's planned out with all the plan. And the other one is the actual things that happen. Check marks. Did it happen? What time? So that you have constant communication, whether it's just with yourself or with everyone involved. All right. Real quick, potty training. What is it like? So when we're talking about potty training, it's implementing a routine where your dog knows exactly where you want them to go. And and Julie, both of us will put that on cue. So first, find a safe place. Everyone's going to have something different. If it's snowing and it's got 10 inches of snow, I don't even know where that would be, but if you've got
Kentucky right now, my brother has 10 inches of snow. Yep.
Or in this house right here, our client, they didn't have a yard at the time and they didn't trust it. So we built a little balcony. I mean, I didn't build the balcony, but we put a grass patch on the balcony so the puppy can go potty right there. You can create a potty station everywhere. Figure out what's going to work best, whether it's real grass, fake grass, that's all based on what you do. And then create a routine. The routine is something like this. Go through the exact same door. If you want your dog to ring a bell to tell you they've got to go potty, ring the bell, open the door, go to the potty station. Now, will your puppy follow you? If they're on leash, if they're really young, carry them. Put them on the potty station, wait patiently. The moment they go potty, say the cue that you'd like them to use, and then reward them immediately, right? Have your stuff there. If you've got poop bags, put your poop bags out. Grab a little trash can. Enzyme Cleaner if they miss the spot by a little bit. And reward them with food. Reward them with a little game of fetch. Reward them in whatever they think is a reinforcement. Remember, if it works, right, they're going to continue. They're going to do it again. They're going to repeat it. So if they earn something that they like, they're going to repeat it. Another really big tip is put the water bowl near the station that you want them to go potty and set your timer so that you're ahead of the time, not waiting for your dog to teach you, right, by barking or jumping. Hey, I got to go potty. I'm going to set that timer just a little bit ahead. All right. That was pretty quick. Socialization checklist. This is it, guys. You want a bomb-proof puppy that's a well-mannered dog living in the city. You're going to want to go through all of these and not just expose your dog to them, properly exposing and socializing to the point where they have a neutral or positive response. So if you want them like a service dog will need to have a neutral response. They see a child running, like, no big deal. If you're going to have your puppy working or your dog working with dogs and you want that with the dog's children, you're going to want to have your puppy be exposed to children that are calm. You know, if you're going to ask your puppy to be able to be pet by children, right, in therapy or something like that, then your training is going to be, your socialization and exposure is going to be a little bit different.
Do not expect your puppy to know how to be gentle with children. Right? Children and puppies are very difficult at the same time. So setting up that exercise pen, gates, making sure that both parties are very safe, because puppies have very sharp teeth and nails. We want to just set that expectation that you get to interact in their safe space behind a gate, those kind of things, before we just throw them in and hope it goes well, because that most of the time does not work out.
So introducing your puppy to something that you want them to feel comfortable with. In this case, there's a box, there's recyclable water, there's opportunities for, I think this is Bandit and Brutus, to just feel, this was in their expend area, and we were basically helping them feel comfortable being left alone. And so they had the little puzzles and stuff that they were doing. They become more well-rounded adult dogs. They're okay with being left alone. If you miss this stage, and here we have in the video, that was fireworks playing on the TV while they're doing something that they like, which was playing with each other or getting a few repetitions in the little obstacle thing that I built. By not doing this, your puppy later on, when they become a little bit older, typically turns into a reaction towards whatever it is, the sound, the sight. So you want to make sure that you do not skip this part of their training. Again, that window is short, 12 to 14 weeks, sometimes 16. Right. So when we talk about development and learning, so if I go back over to this just stage right here, doesn't necessarily mean food. It's just, it could be a field trip. It could be human play.
It could mean just sitting on a bench and watching things go by with your puppy. You know, you're sitting there, you get to pet them, and they see a fire truck go by. It may be very jarring to an older dog, but if your puppy is there, they feel safe in your arms. Just observing is part of that development, just like we would do with a baby. There's a fire truck over there. Doesn't mean we have to go touch the fire truck. Just means, look, there's something exciting over there, but you're safe in my arms.
I forgot all about these videos. They're so cute.
They're so cute. Cappuccino.
Watching their body language is important, just to see, is it fun? Do they feel okay? You know, not really having a lot of rules when you're just having these experiences. Sleep and alone time. It's really important to train your puppy to feel comfortable with being alone. We talked about this earlier, but by not doing that, what happens is you have a dog that is going to stress out every time you walk away to get some coffee. Now, there's a way to train this. I'm just going to give you a really quick, things. A couple of ways to do it is giving your dog something that they enjoy while you move away 3 feet and come back, maybe 6 feet, come back. In this case, I think one of the videos that's playing, I gave this puppy, gosh, I forgot her name. This was a long time ago.
This was Pearl.
It's Pearl. That's it.
This was Pearl.
Oh my gosh.
The rescue pup.
Yeah. So Pearl, we gave her something frozen that was going to stay put, and it was really good, really high value food. And she went to town on it even when I walked away. Even when I went behind the little pantry and disappeared, She did look at me. She just kind of like looked, but the value was so high, she stayed over there. And it wasn't a distraction. She knew I was there. She associated that thing, that frozen thing, with me moving around. And it was a training session that we did all the time. How are we doing, Julie? Any comments?
Nope, we're good. Let us know if you're hearing us, how you're understanding. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the comments. We will be going back and reading them if you're watching this later, and we'll drop in to just check on the numbers and what people are asking for. So please give us some feedback on this.
So here we're going to talk a little bit about management really quickly, just helping you understand how we use management, but also how to fade out management and what it would look like. Management for us could be anything that prevents the dog from doing something that we don't want them to do or that they haven't learned until they're trained. So pulling on leash, potty accidents, those are usually topics pet parents say, my puppy is doing these things. Examples of management could be closing the curtains. It could be muzzle training. It could be baby gates, tethering, X-Pen. It all goes back to what your vision is, what life is going to be like. You might implement these managements way ahead of time before you really actually need them. If you're expecting you have a new child in the home, you might be blocking off the baby room, right? You might be blocking off the baby room early on. That's management. Puppy will never learn to go in there. It's never been in there.
Or for those of you that don't want a puppy on the couch, you don't want your dog on the couch, guess what? You get to manage that couch. You get to manage the puppy around the couch. It's not inherent for them to go, oh, I shouldn't sit there. They see you sitting there and they want to sit next to you. So create the expectation when they're first there that the couch is off limits. It is a no access, so they never practice jumping up, getting off, jumping up, getting off.
Management is used until they're trained. So when you say, when can I get rid of this? When they're trained at a level where you can remove management, at a level that it mimics the kind of distractions your world has in it. If you've got children, your puppy can do this at a level when the kids are moving around or they got friends over. So you're not going to remove an X-Pen when the puppy are complaining about your dog jumping. You're going to keep that gate there because they're not trained yet.
I tell my clients that you can take down the management when you can prove it to me. If you don't know, if I come in your house and you go, well, they might do it, they may be, means it's not ready to be removed. You've got to be able to prove it to me that they know it. They know it when I'm there. They know it when the kids are running around. Prove it to me and you're good. You can start to break down that management.
Just going to go over really quickly some other ways to use management. So over here, the very top left corner is our friend Diane. And this X-Pen was created to keep the puppy that was Bandit and Brutus contained in an area while they were learning how to go potty. Because we didn't feel like putting them on a leash, it's 4 floors or for whatever reason. You can set up a management that walks your puppy to where you want them to go. In this case here, there's actually a double management for Coco. There's 2 X-Pens and you see she's still at the top. So what did I do? What did I do after this? Can anybody guess what I did with Coco? Not with Coco, but with management. You guys don't want to know what I do with Coco. What did I do to prevent Kogo from getting out of an X-Pen when I had 2 of them there? What would you do? Don't answer this, Julie.
Oh, no, it's a great question.
I'll let you guys answer. Somebody's got to drop it in. What would you do if your puppy knows how to climb through 2 X-Pens? Next picture is our puppy Eddie that mom's complained that he's jumping. I said, well, let's set up an X-Pen. Let's set up a gate. So now everybody that comes up, and that was his face. Yes, I put a lid on it. I took a 3rd X-Pen and I placed it clear over the top. And then I put the little clips on it. So it was literally a big, huge used crate. It had a roof and it worked. And Eddie over here stopped jumping on us. We put up a little gate. We asked for it first. We had the gate up. He went into a sit. He began to sit every time we walked up to the gate because it was reinforced. And over here we have Bandit and Brutus. It wasn't their turn to train. So they were confined because I had another dog that I was training. And so I'd take one dog out and then those two would go back in and we kept switching them. Otherwise, I couldn't get the training of the other dog, right? So we use that type of management that way. All right. So the essentials, when you first get your puppy and you've gone through creating a safe space and they feel safe and you've gone through some bonding so they trust you, then you can begin to teach, work, right? Get them to respond to any of your cues, behaviors that you want to put onto cue. Some of the very, very first things is your puppy should learn to take food when being approached. Be okay with taking food from your hand. If you notice that your puppy is running when you present your hand, it might not be something that you've done. It could be something that was passed on genetically. It could have been something that just accidentally happened. But then that's where you're at. Are you going to start teaching sit down, go to your no. First, get your puppy to be okay with taking food from you. Following you. If you've got an 8 or 9 or 10-week-old puppy and they're not following you, you're going to want to stay right there. Don't go on. Don't be going to teach them recall and all of that. Start with just teaching them to follow you because it's very rare that a puppy doesn't want to follow you. Targeting hand or your objects, teaching them the different targeting, paw target, nose targeting, teaching them to feel comfortable with different management tools, teaching them to be alone, and capturing and rewarding wanted behaviors. Good boy, good sit. Oh, good potty, right? Those kind of things. That's the essentials. That's the basics with puppies. It's really the focus because the main focus is building trust, making them feel safe, right? Building that connection. Then these are just the basic essentials. I know a lot of puppy parents get their puppy and they want to start working on sit and down, go to bed and all of that. But really, honestly, all dogs that I've ever met, they still learn no matter how old they are. But those essentials are really important. All right. So just to review, here are your steps. If you've got a brand new puppy, make a plan and set up your management. Your management should be in place before you bring your puppy home. Your dry erase boards with your schedule should be already on the table. The family knows exactly what they're doing. The routine dialed in. Then the moment you bring your puppy or you meet your puppy for the first time, go slow. Watch your puppy's body language. Slowly begin to build trust, right? Help them build confidence. Sit down in their safe space with them. Don't leave them. Don't put your puppy down and walk away and make a cup of coffee. Take some time. Have somebody ask for some support. The first 24 hours when we bring home a puppy, we're literally laying on the floor. We bring the crate up to us and we put our finger in the crate. We let that puppy know that they're okay. We're not going anywhere. And each day we move further and further away. Sometimes this happens in, 24 hours and I can sleep on the couch. But go slow. Listen to your puppy. Watch their body language. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, it's different with every puppy. So even if you've had, 15 dogs in your life, do not compare your new puppy to your old puppy because that's setting you up for failure. Every single puppy that I've had in this house has taken a different amount of time to potty train, a different amount of time to crate train, a different amount of time to feel comfortable and confident. So work with the dog that's in front of you. Don't think because this is an Aussie Doodle, they're going to do this. Never expect because of the breed or your last dog or, you see your neighbor's dog or even their brother or sister is doing this, this, and this. Work with the dog that's in front of you. Create success with that dog. Don't compare them to other puppies or past dogs that you've had because then you're going to be disappointed very, very quickly. Oh, yeah. And I like that, Diane. Recognize that you're going to make mistakes. Be patient and consistent. Absolutely. No one is perfect. You're not going to get it right on the first try every time. But be patient and be consistent. And that includes with yourself. Be patient with yourself.
And go back to the dream. We're all going to get to points in any kind of training, whether it's training your puppy or training for a race. You're going to get to points where it gets hard, it gets challenging. Know that you're going to survive. but keep that goal in mind and be okay to alter it. Be okay to change things up. Be okay to go, you know what? I'm going to shift this, but be in a state of mind that is positive, be in a state of mind that is pleasant to be around, because taking care of yourself means that everyone else will be taken care of too. So we're going to end on that. Anyone else want to add to that? Was this helpful? Hopefully
I
it was.
love Diane's final comment. Don't compare your skills to the skills of a professional trainer. That's right. Yo and I have 1,000 puppies under our belt. And the only reason we're good at this is because we've practiced. We have practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced, and we have failed and gotten up and done it again. So the fact that we've done it over and over and over again, that's what makes us so good. And that may take more time when you have one puppy at a time. So please don't compare yourself to the perfect, ideal situation. Create what works for you, follow these guidelines, and especially if you're struggling with something, reach out to us. That's what we're here for. We want to help you. We want to empower you into feeling confident in raising your puppy. We want you to be the puppy expert in your home. And I love it when clients, I have kids sometimes that'll go out and teach other people how to be with their puppies because they learned so much in our programs that they become little dog trainers to their family. Like, no, mom, they said don't do that. And I'm like, yeah, the kid gets it. So let's all listen to this one right here. And that's really, really, really powerful when you get everyone on the same page.
We do have our Puppy Power Accelerator program launching again on February 7th, I think it is. So I'm going to go over it really quick. Those of you that have family and friends that have puppies, I'm just going to give you this information. And I want you to take a picture of this screen or the next one so that they can book a free call. So the Puppy Power Accelerator program is a program that costs $4.99. It runs for 8 weeks. What you get is a weekly live coach, puppy play dates that are scheduled here in a very safe area. If you're in the area, that is all included for no extra fees. You get a video library that gives you step-by-step tutorial videos so that you can implement that kind of training. So when after you get done watching a live coaching session, you go, hey, how do we teach settle on a mat again? You can go into your video library and you pull that video and share it with the family. You get live Q&A. We did a fantastic one on Tuesday. We have another one the next Tuesdays in a row, but anything that's coming up for you and your family, live Q&A to answer those questions on the spot. And then you get an invitation to the support group where you can ask questions 24/7, whatever's popping up, even at 2:00 in the morning, and it'll pop that question in there and you'll get some feedback. So all of that for $4.99. And it's called our Puppy Power Accelerator program because it is accelerated. You get a lot of support, much different than most puppy programs. The other option that I want to put on here is to book a call. When you book a call with us, we're going to ask you questions of what's coming up, what's going on, what is the family dynamic, what is your dream? And we give you a step-by-step treatment plan. We will tell you everything you need to know to have success, whatever that dream is. And we do it for free. And the reason why we do it for free is because we understand that raising a puppy is not very easy. But if you implement that plan and you understand what that picture might look like, you're going to have much more success. So we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you feel supported, especially if you live in our community, because we want dogs that behave really well in our area.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Anything else you want to add to that, Julie? Did I cover it all?
No, I think this is a lot of information. I hope that this was very helpful for all of you, whether you're a pet parent or a trainer. This is really the key to success. This is what makes us so successful with our puppy programs, is sticking to a regime, a regiment, being very strict with our time. You can always relax the rules much later, but putting those rules into place, putting that schedule into place, we really want to jumpstart your puppy's skills from day one. So if you don't have your puppy yet, if you're within the first week, maybe you've had them for a while, please reach out to us because we want to help you create that vision that's, in your head of your dog in 10 years. That's our favorite thing to do.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you for joining us on Saturday morning for me, maybe evening or afternoon for you. And if there is anything that we can do to help support in your learning or with your pups, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you, Julie, for giving up some time. I'm going to go back and see what's going on with this new pup that I have here that I haven't named. I think I'm going to go towards Baxter.
I like the name Baxter for a dog. That's a great, like Baxter. And then you stick with your B pattern. You've got Bentley, Bandit, Baxter. I love it.
But I'm not keeping this dog, guys. So he is available. We're looking for a really good home. I think he is sick. That's why I'm keeping him separated. So he's all the way on the first floor. And he is on some medication. So he's not going to contaminate my dogs. But yeah, he's super cute, Julie, and sweet. And we're going to find him a really good home, right? Promise that you're going to help me.
Yes. Well, see, this is the problem is when she welcomes a dog, she helps to rehome it. When I welcome a dog into my home, I end up keeping them. So that's why he's at her house right now. Thank you guys again so much for joining us on a Saturday morning. If you're watching this later, please drop your questions and comments below. We will come back and answer them and engage with you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day.